Ground rules. So each person's going to get a couple minutes to answer the question. If the other doesn't like the response, you guys each get one rebuttal, maybe two, it depends. Questions may be asked in between for clarification, but no interruptions until the person's done. Then we can go a little bit back and forth. And then for those who are viewing, let me give Elliot his intro real quick. So born and raised in Queens, Elliot is the founder and CEO of Rap Radar. He also worked as editor-in-chief for XXL Magazine. He's a trusted voice in hip-hop media and interviewed everyone under the sun, from Jay-Z to Drake to Mary J. Blige. And he's been in the industry for 25 plus years. So yes, we're going to keep it fun. Well, we got some serious business to talk about. Gentlemen, are you both ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Are we allowed to talk after the debate? Like,
yes. I'm in my role right now.
I like that.
I'm in my role right now, so I gotta set it up that way.
This could be some presidential for you then for the next 4 years, man.
See, I got the little buttons.
I'm rooting for you.
Back to character. So, starting with the first interview, Elliot, you had with Rory and Mout. So, I do want to clarify. Yes. You did later go on a show and say that you respect the work that has been put in, but your comments do start from somewhere, and you are valid to have your own opinion, so might as well talk about it now. So, Elliot, you said, quote, everybody's media, Summer Walker is media, Camron is running around like he is Stephen A. Smith. This is the time that I really want you to clarify that statement, with him listening, of course, and explain how you feel about artists, athletes, and entertainers turning into media.
Well, I was embarrassed by my appearance on the Rory Mal thing. I think that caught me in a vulnerable moment where, being somebody that's been in hip hop media, been in media since the early 90s, like you said, seeing all the changes of like so much more streamers are now taking up the marketplace. So many athletes or artists are now media. It's a little tough now for traditional journalists. So I think my frustration came out, and I targeted Cam, and that wasn't fair. I was wrong for that. And now when I really look at it, Cam should walk around like he's Stephen A. Smith, because he's building a sports empire on his own terms, right? He put his own money up. Mace put money up. They've done things the right way. They've empowered others, Michael Irvin, Mark Jackson, to even RIP OJ, and especially you, Treasure, like putting you on like a real journalist. So if you look at the way it has been moving out here, you set the standard of how you should move out here. But, sometimes me as a traditional journalist, I get frustrated. And I just think I was a little bit out of pocket there, and I apologize. And that really wasn't where I was really coming from. I was more so pointing out the challenges that today's journalists face in this marketplace, where so much is like fame and celebrity, fueled. People want to be famous before they want to be true journalists,
Okay. Cam, how do you feel about Elliot's statement? Because, the argument can be, you're not running around like Stephen A. Smith, you're running around like Cam, because that's who you are. So how do you feel about that? And then how do you feel about artists, athletes, and entertainers turning into media?
Right. First, when I'm looking at Elliot now, it's like, I didn't know your face looked like pepper jack turkey. Like, that's what the texture of your skin looks like pepper jack turkey. Like, it look like you sweat duck sauce. You look like a sloppy sandwich in the face. Pause, man. My bad. I didn't know. I never really looked at you like that. But as far as what Elliot said, I'm running around. I'm not trying to be anybody but myself. As far as comparing me to Stephen A. Smith, I take that as a compliment, because he's kind of the standard. He's in negotiations for doing $100 million deal over a certain amount of years of time. And certain amount of years, there's $100 million per year. But he's basically the standard when it comes to getting money in this field. And not only being the standard, he's a black man from New York, like I am. So I'm never trying to be anybody else, but if you're going to compare me to somebody who's at the top of the game in this thing that we're doing, and I've only been doing this since, it's going on, it's going to be 2 years in March this year coming up. So if you're comparing me to that, it isn't like he said a podcaster or somebody else. So I didn't get to it. When I heard it, to be honest with you, I really wasn't too upset about it. I was more like, where'd that come from? But over the years, I've known Elliot. We haven't really talked a lot and so on and so forth. And I seen like a few things from his interview stat. He's like his relationship with Jay-Z and all this. And I didn't know To be honest with you, I didn't really know you had a great relationship with Jay-Z. I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to it that much because from what I remember is with Elliot is that he ran Double XL when I was coming up. And if you get the cover, you get the cover. If you don't, you got to move on to the next thing. So I never put too much faith into one magazine because there's different outlets prior to the internet as well. Magazine covers were definitely an important, and Double XL, Vanessa too, shout out to Vanessa, they supported me a lot through my career. So I have nothing bad to say about that at all. But as far as comparing me to Stephen A. Smith, to be honest with you, I wasn't offended. I was more just confused, like, where's this going? As far as athletes and entertainers becoming podcasters or analysts or anything of that nature, with me, it's more about looking at the climate. It isn't about necessarily being a journalist, because Elliot made a great point with his opening statement. People may want to be more famous than doing the due diligence or homework or something that a topic is. But me, you have to look where the climate is going. And when I heard his interview, to be honest with you, I said to myself, this sounds like the guy who used to own Blockbuster, and he's mad he can't sell VHS tapes. Or a guy who owns a livery cab service and he's mad that everybody's Ubering. That's the vibe that pushed off. And instead of figuring out the climate and what to do to get money in the climate, it sounded like more of a complaining situation, to where a person like me, I would sit there and say, well, why is and I'm not mocking you, I'm being serious. Why is everybody streaming? And I don't get streaming. Why we can't sell physical tapes or physical CDs or vinyl? I just don't. How they monetizing it? What's the BDS or what's the sound scan? And instead of doing that, I figure ways out to see which way the climate is moving, whichever field I'm in, music, movies, entertainment, regardless, whatever it is, and try to be the best at what direction the climate is going in. But I wasn't offended when he said it.
Okay. So, Elliot, just follow-up question for you based off of what Cam said. So what is your relationship with Jay-Z? And then how do you feel about Cam's statement towards you? And then basically just the way that journalism and media is going right now.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend, producer Trav, that works with me and stuff. He says, you don't complain, you adjust, right? So to Cam's point, he's right. It's like, again, I was caught in a vulnerable moment where I kind of expressed my frustration, but that's not how I really feel ultimately. Like, I feel like I have such a passion to document hip hop culture. I'm going to continue to grow and pivot and adapt to these things and not look at it as a negative, right? And, I have my own debate show I got coming out, The Bigger Picture, with Jeremy Heck and DJ Head, that I do every Saturday. I'm starting my own new one-on-one interview series called Elliot Wilson Experience. Show my interviews. I feel like I do some of the best hip hop interviews out there. I did a great interview with Camron, in 2019 with B-Dot for Rap Radar Podcast. This show is called Elliot Wilson Experience. I'm interviewing artists like Snoop Dogg, Wale, Absol, Leon Thomas. So I just have to reinvent myself. I can't complain that, all these people are out here with outlets and they're making noise. I got to continue to push it. This is what I want to do, document hip hop culture and grow. I got to adapt to these things. So I thought it was a really teachable moment. And I appreciate, I didn't do any of this to stir some sort of viral moment or get on your program. It was just a natural moment of frustration I expressed. But to Cam's point, you can't just complain about that. You don't want to be the old person at the park talking about you don't get no play anymore. You have to adapt to these times. And I'm determined to do that.
Got it. Okay. Next topic, kind of similar. So you said you feel like you're the best, right? What do you think? I don't know why that's funny, but what do you think separates you from others? And then do you feel like traditional journalism right now is dying? I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll let Cam give his take.
Yeah, I just feel like I have such a passion to document hip hop culture. I was never an artist myself, so I was always somebody, and when it wasn't cool back then, that you try to get a job as music editor at The Source, and then I ran Double XL, like Cam said. And you make these decisions and you build these things, and it's just I had a whole 20-year career where no one knew what I looked like. It wasn't about being famous or known. Then I started to do on-camera stuff. And I think, one of the things people look at me is that I do a lot of great interviews, and I think that's something I pride myself for. And now we're in a climate where a lot of artists, the big artists, don't feel like they have to do interviews. So that gets very frustrating, right? Because the biggest artists, you can't get them to do interviews anymore. So I have to adapt to that. And maybe I have to focus more on new artists or people that aren't really stories. So when I say I'm the best, I just think that I bring a lot of passion to documenting hip hop. I've been pretty consistent with the accomplishments I had in my career. And, my bread and butter, I think, is delivering really thoughtful, great conversations with artists, And, Cam's a great example. Again, I had a great Rap It Up podcast with Cam. I've done great interviews with other artists. So I think that that's my bread and butter when I say I'm the best. Like, I think I'm great at like storytelling and having great conversations with these artists.
How did you get back to owning Death Row?
Well, it was like I had a long career outside of Death Row. First, by joining No Limit, getting with Master P, learning the business, learning how to market, how to brand, how to reestablish myself. And then, taking my solo venture with Pharrell, with different producers, and just moving around and just watching my legacy be based on Doggy Style.
Right.
People would never associate me without Doggy Style. And Doggy Style was always over there. So when situations arise where the label was able to be bought, the first thing I tried to do was work to get my masters back.
Right.
When Koch had it.
Right.
I tried to go holler at them like, look, let me work for y'all to get my masters back.
Right.
I don't want to own Death Row. Just let me be the CEO and I'll help y'all fix this shit.
Right.
And they came at me like a sucker. So then I went
Alan Grunblatt, Michael
just
Koch.
like a sucker. So then I go to Def Jam and say, I'm going to take a job at Def Jam. I go sit down with Lucian and like, I want to work for you. He like, nigga, why you want to work? You at the height of your career? I'm like, because I like the artist and I love Def Jam. I know what this label means to hip hop. And I feel like I can help reestablish it.
Right.
Go over there and learn a few things about corporate. Death Row Play happens to fall right in my lap. It's available. The people that's selling it don't really want to sell it, but if it's me, they'll sell it.
Right.
And definitely they're not going to charge me this much. They're going to charge me that much.
Right.
So it was about, do I get it? I know how certain people going to feel when I get it. I know how certain motherfuckers going to react to it when I get it.
Right.
But is it about them or is it about me and my legacy?
Right.
Because my intentions is to get it, clean it up, reestablish what it was supposed to be, take care of the old people that didn't get paid, make sure the numbers is right, make sure the percentages and all of that shit is right because it's wrong. You hear interviews now where people saying, I ain't never got paid from this and never got paid from that. That's true.
Right.
But I didn't own it then.
Right.
I own it now. So now I got to go try to fix all of the things that was wrong with it and get it to a point to where it's a great business. And I think right now, the way it's looking, it looks like Death Row is a new place of making great music. It's happiness, it's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's no violence. And it's people getting treated right. The artists that's over there are excited. Nobody's talking about, I didn't get paid, I don't want to be here, I can't leave. None of that.
Right. So you own all the old catalog as well?
Yep.
Amazing. Amazing. It ain't a lot of people in here, but I'm gonna motherfucking clap for that. Because if anybody does deserve to own it, it should be you or Dre. And Dre obviously has Aftermath. And for you to have Death Row, like you said, fucking full circle. And Jimmy Iovine in the mix also. I got Izzy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly, man. You brought up Doggy Style. And you were late teens, early 20s when you made Doggy Style. And first time I ever heard you was on 187. And I was like, I came home from school. I said, who the fuck is this? This shit was crazy. Then everybody was so hype off 187. Then Doggy Style came out, which was expected to be one of the biggest albums in hip hop history. Did you feel the impact of what Doggy Style had, or were you just in the mix and saying, okay, I'm a rapper? But did you know how big it was and what a big superstar you was at the time?
Not really, because remember, I was coming off of the Chronic album.
Okay.
Which was Dre's, big introduction as a solo artist that
Right.
I was behind the scenes.
Right.
And was with a crew of writers and a crew of people who was supporting him, and we was looking at him as the star.
Right.
So when the momentum shifted my direction, naturally I wasn't ready, but I had to get ready because it was like that's what we prepared for. When we was writing all of these songs for the Chronic, we was preparing ourselves for who's next.
Right.
And then to get it, I was so caught up in the game. I was never like, even to this day, I've never been able to watch my highlights. I've always thought about the next game I got to play.
Right.
So I could never feel like that because I was so with my head down trying to be the dopest rapper, trying to make the East Coast love me as a rapper.
Right.
Like people don't know at that time, the East Coast was the dominant. It was the pinnacle. It was the GOATs. It was everything that was, you have to impress them, whether it's radio, whether it's the GOATs, whether it's writers, you got to impress the East. And my thing was, I love the East Coast rappers so much, and I love what they stood for. And I love that we had created our own style out here, that we didn't have to bite or imitate, but we could do our own thing and get respect. And that was my whole thing, was how do New York feel about Snoop Dogg?
Right.
Like when me and Dre first went out there, I remember I went to Popeye's Chicken because I just wanted people to see me and to see if they fuck with me. And people was coming up to me, and I'm like, damn. Then I met Daz Effects. I met Busta Rhymes. I met fucking Chubb Rock. All these niggas that was hot. I met all these niggas, and they...
You treated regular people, though, fairly, too. I know you was meeting all the stars that you're saying. Rap, people who was hot in the game. But if you see somebody regular on the street, you treated them just as nice, because you was at Foot Locker, and I ran up to you talking about, yo, I rap, bro, and I rap. And they was trying to push me back. And you was like, yo, like, cuz Snoop. And you slipped me some number. I was like, Snoop gave me the number. And I just want, this is dead ass, yo.
Damn, I still do that shit.
Yo, fam, this is what I'm trying to tell you. It wasn't just rappers you was treating, you was I'm lost.
Showing that love, too.
You was showing love to everybody, man.
But that's the way I was raised, though. Like I said, I came in respecting people and respecting hip-hop in general. So when a motherfucker come up to me and say they love me or they want an autograph or a picture, and sometimes security gets aggressive, it's my job to, digress and say, hold on, it's just a fan that want a picture, man.
Right.
Or they want to just highlight me real quick.
Right.
If you come to my studio in California, all of my art that's on the wall is from my fans.
Wow.
So when I'm on the road and a fan make a painting or give me something, I don't throw that shit away.
Right.
I take it to the house, put it on the wall, so that way when we do interviews or whatnot and the fans see this art on the wall, they're like, damn, Snoop really took my art and it's a part of his get out now, instead of just throwing my shit away.
Right. I got one more question for you, because I want to talk to Neff.
Well, my nephew's here, Josh.
Yeah.
Knucklehead.
I seen him on your episode, and I said, I need to ask him a couple questions, because I was feeling his point of view. I didn't say I'd agree with it, right? But I was feeling this point of view, and we was talking before you came. But I want people to know about a conversation we had, and I want you to give people your point of view. Sure. And you alluded to it a little bit a few questions ago.
Yep.
So when I did the CNN interview, and I kind of went off the rail and promoted my Pink Horsepower and everything else, and I knew what I was coming there for, because they wanted me to talk about Diddy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And I used it as a commercial for me. You were one of the first people who called me, and you said, Cam, you one that did that. I'm talking about you should have approached that another way. And then I would explain to my point of view. I just want people to understand what your point of view was, to tell me, and I appreciate that, bro. I really do. Explain to me why you shouldn't, somebody like myself on the rise in media, because this isn't where I came from at all. We talked about my hip hop. Why that wasn't the best look for me to approach it that way.
Before I say that, let me tell you a little story that involved Kenny Smith.
Gotcha.
Remember when the protest was going on and Kenny Smith walked off the TNT?
Yes.
Respectfully, he and I disagreed, and I called him.
Right.
And he was like, I had to send a message, and it was the most profound way to send a message. I said, there's two things you're missing, bro, respectfully.
Right.
Number one, you left two of your brothers hanging. Because with you being gone, it was left up to Chuck and Shaq to speak.
Right.
Both Hall of Famers, both beloved and respected. But Kenny's a brilliant brother.
Yep.
And when you have that platform and you have that voice, you surrender it to no one.
Right.
That's what I said to him. And I said, those were my 2 points.
Right.
I bring that up because I thought that when it came to you, it was the first time I looked at you and I said, he's not appreciating his greatness.
Right.
I watched this cat, Camron. You've been in hip hop. I remember years ago I saw you on Bill O'Reilly's show and all this other shit. You were wild as hell and all this other stuff. Funny, but smart.
Right.
articulate, thoughtful, passionate,
Right.
and fair.
Right.
Those are the components that you bring to a platform like that.
Right.
You don't let that go because you're trying to promote something or you trying to downplay anything. No.
Right.
You know why? Because you want them to call you back rather than call another brother or sister who can articulate the way that you can, who ain't as knowledgeable as you are, who ain't as thoughtful and as fair-minded and as sincere as you are.
Right.
You ever heard, you know when we growing up, right? As black folks, see, how many times as black folks we grew up and we saw some negative shit in the news in our neighborhood and stuff like that, or a neighborhood similar, you know, the hood is the hood, right?
Right.
And we said, sorry asses, why they put that goddamn person on
Right.
television? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Person got 3 teeth, can't speak, or
Right.
can't articulate themselves.
Right.
Look at it pisses us off. You
Right.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because why didn't they come to somebody like us?
Right.
And my point to you was, you that us.
Got you.
So I'm looking at you and I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Cam, because they ain't called me.
Right.
They ain't called. I mean, they called me every other night. They ain't called me that night, right?
Right.
And I'm like, but we good, because Cam there.
Right.
And Camron, to me, didn't take advantage of that moment.
Got you.
You know, I understood because, like you said, you appealing to a different audience. But I was like, your audience ain't going nowhere.
Right.
That's a different audience.
Right.
And what you want them to do is come over and join the audience you already have.
Gotcha.
Because they know that there's a level of versatility that you bring to the table that ain't just for anybody.
Right.
You have it. And so for me, that's how I looked at you. And I was saying, what you doing? And you explained yourself, and I understood exactly where you was coming from. And I'm one of those cats, like Scoop Jackson is one of my good friends. And I remember when I talked to Scoop, and I was like, yo, bro, you want to make this paper.
Right.
You got to dress a little sharper. You know, you got to be suited down, blah, blah, blah. He said, Stephen A., I don't care about none of that.
Right.
I'm happy where I'm at.
Right.
This is who I am. This is who I want to be. My man.
Right.
No problem. Because he said it. It was intentional. It wasn't foolish. It was deliberate and intentional. That's what he wants to do. Whatever makes you happy.
Right.
And what I was coming at you with was what make you happy.
Right.
When you told me, I was like, I got it.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking at the time, you wanted that mass appeal.
Right.
And I like, don't pass up those moments.
Right.
Because for me, I do want that mass appeal.
Absolutely.
Listen, I know my peeps, and I'm going to always share. I remember one time when, years ago when Max Kellerman was on First Take, and somebody was talking about, Max Kellerman is invited to the barbecue, not you, over the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. I was like, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need to be invited to no damn black barbecue. I got my own. Ain't nothing but black people there.
Right.
What y'all talking about?
Right.
You got a monopoly on barbecues.
Right.
Yeah, I got a yard. You understand? I got a grill.
Right.
But I do have my own damn barbecue.
Right.
And it wasn't to disrespect anybody. It was just to make the point.
Right.
You don't get to qualify, define who I am and my blackness and all of that other stuff.
Right.
But I never want to limit myself.
Right.
Just to us.
Right.
I want whites, Hispanics, Asians, Jews, Catholics, Muslims, everybody. I want everybody to hear my voice.
Absolutely.
I just came from Abu Dhabi a week ago.
Right.
Okay. I was in Dubai and I was with Abu Dhabi, and I ran into sheiks, other Muslim officials and what have you. They all knew me. They watch me all the time.
Right.
That's the shit I like.
That's what's up.
Wherever I go, you know who I am.
That's what's up.
I like that.
That's dope. 3 brothers, all 3 of you. Who's the best?
Oh, by the way, I tried out.
You didn't finish.
I didn't finish.
Yeah.
Try it out. Just to let you know.
Yeah.
Keep going. What you want to say?
Yeah. Who was the best growing up? Was Giannis always the best? Or was it a time he kind of surpassed anybody? Or you or your brother was the best?
Oh,
Your other brother.
Okay, so this is a question you got to ask people, because people will tell you, like, what I'm saying, how we really knew the family and how, like, coming up. But I think, so when I believed, I was like, okay, this guy now is like top tier. I think it was his 4th year in the NBA.
Right.
Like after his 4th year in the NBA,
Who are you talking about exactly?
I'm talking about Yanni.
Okay, yeah.
Giannis. After
Right, your
his
brother.
4th year,
Right, okay, just for the audience to be clear.
After his 4th year in the NBA, I was like, okay, this guy is like taking strides right now. Because what happened was, like, he became this hybrid. Like before, would play one-on-one, you could guard him. He was a little bit scrawnier, like a little bit younger. So we all playing one-on-one to shit till the morning. Like we always
Right.
play together. And then I think after like his third, fourth year, it just became this like entity, this guy like build these stats. Are you unguardable, bro? Just
Right.
bulldoze everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that, and then when we were younger, I think I would always like, it would be a battle because I'm always like bigger. I was bigger at the time and we were
Right.
kind of same height, etc. But, you know, there's a reason we all play like this. We all got the same grit because we kind of.
I'm going to take it as Giannis was better because you can't just say I was better.
Oh, no.
Growing up, who was better? That's the question.
No, I
Not
was better
NBA
too.
Giannis. Growing up, TA, who was better? You or Giannis or your brother? Who was the best?
Growing up, anybody in this. Back, it's about the producer that could fuck with me. First of all, I'll tell you
that's
that
what
right
I'm
now.
trying to figure out.
Yeah, you could ask anybody.
So you could fuck with you growing up.
Come on now.
That's what I want. That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I was trying to figure out.
But I'll tell you one thing.
Right.
Now, try playing one-on-one with him now.
Right. It's a problem.
Problem. It ain't a problem for me. It's a problem for the whole league.
Right. No, I'm not even talking.
Oh, yeah,
I
just
get it.
like
Like,
now,
yeah, no,
one-on-one?
you can look at it and see it's
one-on-one.
see it's a problem. And that kind of leads to my next question. Is it shocking? No, y'all are brothers. Y'all grew up together. And I'll ask you some more stuff about family later on. But to see the phenomenon that he became, coming from where you guys came from, to see the level of him arguably with certain people being the best player in the world, is it shocking to you? Like, yo, my brother might be the best player in the world. He's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
Is it shocking?
So it is shocking. Not shocking in a term sense of like, oh, I don't believe in him. I believe in him, bro.
Right.
My whole life, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know how it is? Sometimes they tell you like, hey, man, bro, you might be this great artist, you might be this great person, and then you just take this step, but you're not looking. Right? You just looking right here, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day, you're like, damn.
Right.
You look back and you're like,
right.
at the top of the mountain.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing. I see him, I'm like, man, do you understand what it is to average 33 points per game in the NBA?
Right.
And
best league in the world.
Best league in the world. But it's not only the best league. It's hard to average that in the worst league in the world.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
It's hard because you got to be consistent.
Right. Absolutely.
You got to be a different beast.
33 points is 33 points.
33 points, rebounds, like, you know, up and down, like it's just this whole package of players. So I'm so proud and shocked because like hitting the meaty, like I'm shocked. Now I'm like, okay, hybrid. Now we coming to the next.
Right. Absolutely.
Level.
In the off season, you and your brother don't fuck with no other NBA players. Y'all don't go to pickup games with other NBA players. Y'all don't warm up with us. Y'all don't want to meet at the Carmelo Anthony, LeBron practices, the gyms. Y'all say, we're not fucking with y'all. And I like that. I like that shit a lot because it's like, y'all not going to get in our head mentally to come play full court with y'all in the offseason. We'll see you when the season starts. So two-part question.
Yeah.
How did you develop that mentality? And then secondly, where do y'all go to work out in the summertime, the offseason? If all the best players are working out against each other, where do y'all guys go in the offseason and say, I know where to go to get better for next season?
Okay. So the first one about the mentality, I think is just just growing up the way we, you know what I'm saying? Like we grew up in the streets of Athens, bro. We used to like sell stuff in the streets. We used to we all grew up just a really tight knit.
Right.
And obviously, working out with other guys, I don't want people to kind of take this out of context. It's obviously, number one is competition.
Right.
That's competition, bro. This ain't no, you know what I'm saying? It's competition if you want to survive.
Right.
Because the league has this thing that in like 1 or 2 years or 3 years, they figure it out.
Right.
If you notice this, like you'd be like, oh, this guy was going crazy. All of a sudden,
right.
It's because they figure it out. Right. So how do they figure it out if they don't see you?
Right.
If they don't see you, they can't figure it out.
Right.
That's one. The other thing I would say is that we just love Greece, bro. I mean, we'd love to have you in Greece, by the way.
Right. Please let me know when I need to come. I can't wait.
Yeah,
because I can't lie. I love you guys, women. You guys got great. Greek women are fine, man. Real fine. Very fine.
They are.
Very fine.
What I was saying is just like we love Greece, so we could just go back home.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I mean, would love to do, you know what we would love to do, like a Jew League or something like this, come down, play with guys and stuff like that. But you gotta understand another thing is, always been playing national team, always FIBA, we're always representing the country. So it's hard to play in the Philippines and then come right back to the States and go back or, anywhere in the world.
Right, got you.
Yeah. I didn't say who we're working out with because I don't want to give out.
I see. I got it. You got great personality, but you media trained niggas. Like, don't give away the fucking secret. We're not gonna tell you who the fuck we doing in the off season. Nobody. If the NBA knows Kim, you're not gonna fucking know. I understand it. I get it. Who didn't you like playing against in the NBA, or who don't you like playing against in the NBA?
Well, I don't like playing against the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't like playing against. For some reason, for a little bit of time, it used to be the Heat, because of there's so much us, bro. That's us right there. That's just the grit and defense. It just it used to be the Heat. And then against a player, if you're talking about specifically player, I mean, always don't like, you don't never want to play against KD and them boys, You know what I'm saying? I mean, we did beat them and go all the way, but you don't ever want to play against Bron, KDs, because those are the guys who are the unicorns, the prototypes. So they can just switch up anytime and win you a game, you know? So you always don't want to play against guys like that.
Got you.
And then, okay, obviously, as a...
Somebody in your position, who you got to guard, who don't you like to play? Who's your hardest competition?
Hardest competition?
Yeah.
It's always, I think, for me, it's always the guys who are shorter.
Okay.
So
give me a player.
So shorter would be Trae Young.
Okay.
Right? Shorter would be the guys who kind of manipulate the game, Chris Paul type of vibe. Right. Because they already know I'm going to be physical. I'm going to get on you. I'm going to chase you off the screen. So every play is hey, all this kind of stuff. No shit.
Flopping.
The flop. But it's not. People call it flopping, but it's manipulated. They're smart.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is the European style. They're smart. So guys like that.
Right.
That's the hard part.
Got you, 100%. We see a lot of times you get ready to fight when somebody does something to your brother.
Yeah.
You have to be held back. You're ready to go crazy. Do you think that they made him a target for personal fouls because he's so good and he's so strong, and that's why it gets you so mad? Or why does it get you so mad to the point to where you want to fight?
So I'll tell you what gets me so mad, because I've never clarified this, but by the way, thank you for asking, because a lot of times people just take stuff out of context. Mm-hmm. I never get mad when they foul.
Right.
I get mad when the other team's coach goes grab him. Foul, bro, this is basketball. This ain't NFL. This ain't football.
Right.
This is basketball.
Right.
The foul, that was a foul with Isaiah Stewart against Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
That is not a basketball play.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he doesn't get hurt, knock on wood, because he's big.
Right.
But if you would have grabbed Trae Young like that, he out.
Right.
You would have grabbed somebody else, he's out.
Right.
So don't tell me this is our livelihood. You think I came all the way from the States of Athens for you to do this? No, bro. We ain't even gonna do that.
Right.
I can promise you that. So that's why I get mad.
Gotcha.
I'm a good kid.
That's what's up.
I'm a good kid. I can.
If the NBA didn't work out, what would you do? What's the plan?
NBA didn't work out. I am, I'm mostly into business stuff like that. I'm more, I'm a very, very creative person, but I've become lately, ever since, I think since 2019, I've become a really big numbers guy. I like quality numbers, what makes sense for me. Definitely pursuing into the business.
Right.
And now I'm having fun with the show too, the podcast.
Right.
So I'm having fun with that.
You got a great personality for television, man. You really do. You got a great personality for television. What's your career high in the NBA?
In the NBA?
Yeah.
30? 30 or 29, 30?
Okay.
Is it 30?
Talk that shit, because people assume that you a single guy, like your career high is not.
I'll be a single guy from a role player. Let me rock and see.
That's a fact. So what's your career high in Greece or Spain?
Greece or Spain, probably 30.
Okay.
Greek league, probably the same thing.
Right.
When I was younger, when I was 17, I used to I think it was second division. I used to score 40 something. I would just let right-handed layup.
Right.
Just run through people with the score.
That's it.
And then, I've always been this guy who's the glue guy. I've never had to be a guy who's a scorer. The same thing with Giannis. People think Giannis is not the type of scored at a sniper. Like, oh, I'm gonna come off. But he's a fucking machine gun.
Right.
Like, it's unstoppable. You ain't nothing you do.
Right.
He's going boom, 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 boom. You can't avoid that.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing. I feel like, I've always been the guy who's ready to do whatever it takes to win.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's what's up. So, because I seen last time we seen each other, he had that seminar for United Masters or what he had going on. And I seen your interview, and you explained how you did Power in the beginning for $17,000 an episode. What was the thought process behind doing that? And did you see the bigger picture, and that's why you took the amount that you
Cam,
took?
I just wanted to do it so bad. Nobody from our culture produced television.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that, we have hit feature films, and across the board, So, but when we got to, like, I pitched Power to everybody, and it was like, nah, they didn't want to do it. And then I went and made music that kind of represented each one of the characters, and we came back to pitch again, and we pitched it, and we just go, she'll tell a portion of the story, and then we press play. And the last place they spend money in the production is on music, because the director created dream sequence of what he would want to put the flyest shit possible in his actual episode, and then the music supervisor will come in and replace it with things that's comparable that'll make it cost efficient. But it's the last place they spend the money is on the music licensing. And I'm like, I want to make something that felt like the Curtis Mayfield's soundtrack to Superfly.
Right.
It matched so well, and it was like, there was points where the character was like staring off and the music was saying what he was thinking. Instead of it being, like, it's when you let the images match the music. You know how you watch the show and then you hear something that wouldn't sell on iTunes? And you're going, they spent $1 gazillion on the project. Right. Why you didn't put the money right there where the music would make me feel a certain way?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
music is important.
It's powerful,
it's very powerful in movies and television. We was looking at some shit that they put good times in the background. It was a love scene, and you put the wrong music back, it turns into something different. Yeah. Go ahead.
But I took the 17,000. I didn't care. I wanted to do it. Like, I think the first 3 seasons of Power, they wouldn't accept the cast of Power onto Good Morning America if I wasn't there.
Right.
So I'm doing 50 Cent. I'm out at night. I come out 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, nah, just give me my suit.
Right.
I just put the suit on, I go do Good Morning America, then I go to sleep because it don't make sense. I got to be there for 5 o'clock. It's already 4:30. Just let me just put the suit on and go do it.
Right. So we talking about Power. We seen Ghost have a little problem.
Yeah.
I still call the nigga Ghost. I don't know nothing else. I call him
Omari.
Yeah. What was the problem with you and him, and why was he so mad? Now, real quick before you tell me, I'm just a nigga on the outside looking at, and I'll be honest with you. When I first seen Power the first season, I was like, this shit is dope. I actually came to your office. We was talking about it, and I didn't know it was going to turn into the monster it turned into. Tommy got a show, Little Ghost got a show, everybody got a show. And was he feeling, and I'm just asking because I don't know, I didn't really dive into what y'all niggas' problem was, but was he feeling niggas killed me off early?
Yeah, look.
After the shit went crazy?
What's crazy about that? What's crazy about people have success for the first time. Sometimes they need it to be theirs, all theirs. Like they want it to be their success, right?
Right.
There's no one person responsible for a hit television show. It's a collective.
Right.
Right? Now, without me there to be the marketing, to make the music, the theme song for the joint, and be everywhere that I'm at, performing the theme song to the actual thing to make it connect in a different way. And then everything else, like in the very beginning, getting the show picked up, period. Right. Like I part of the process of hiring them, right? At points when it wasn't financially in a good space, he will tell you I gave him the money. The rest of the company didn't give him the money. I was only getting $17,000 per episode. How am I giving him the money? I'm giving it to him from out of my pocket, bro.
Right.
So when you do that, and what happens is when he's saying that he feel like they didn't pay him is because he sees himself as the face of the entire network.
So just real clear, so I'm catching up. He's saying he didn't get paid. That's what the problem was?
He said he didn't get paid enough. He thought he should get more.
Oh, okay.
And While he's saying that, immediately they're gonna look to me. Our audience is gonna say, "Well, the hip hop culture, youth culture." So immediately gonna say 50 didn't pay him because you heard him say 50 and Courtney or whoever. They don't know who Courtney is,
Right.
bro. So they're gonna like 50 didn't pay him.
Shit, give me that 150 with
Now look.
you, 150 a week.
50 paid me.
I'll take that.
No, but that,
I'll take that 150 a week. That's why I'm in acting
Let me
class.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. And this is really how this should go. And I can't speak for 50's experiences, just from my experiences. Niggas be thinking you they accountant. For real. You get niggas the money and then they wow the fuck out. They want to buy 4 cars at a time. They want to go move to Alpine, New Jersey. These niggas want to have a 17,000 square foot house. You know, they want to have 16 chains. And then when they go broke, these niggas be like, Cam or sucker.
oh shit, it's careful.
Yeah.
It's always look.
That's
you
how
know,
it goes.
look, in the history of artists, right? Why they go wrong? They're gonna say it was the record company. When the record company is an individual because he's running the actual company, it's Cam or it's 50 or it's somebody that they could point to specifically, it's his fault because he's still doing financially in a place where he can do whatever he want to do. And because they now feeling like they have restraints, it's your fault. They're gonna make it your fault every time. Like look, this is all of the artists. Ask them what happened when they're not popping no more. They'd be like, it was the record company. The record company wasn't responsible for making you hot. They picked you because you had the highest probability of selling.
Right.
But we got high before we got to them.
That is true.
We built the momentum before we got all of the mixtape work. Everything else that you've done to build consistency. Consistency is the key to all success. If you can consistently work at something, you can consistently shoot the jump shot, you're going to go to the league. If you consistently run, catch the ball, you're going to go to the league. Like, that'll happen, but you got to work at it until your technique and you are good enough at it for them to actually give you the shot. And that's the process that we're going through. But they're always going to blame whoever's in the driver's seat around.